Finally, Double Dragon for the Sega Genesis. Right now, you're thinking, wait, why does this thing look funny? And it's because this version of Double D is unlicensed, containing no Sega seal of approval. Now, it was developed by Ballistic and published by MacLeod. This version is the Genesis version, and it has a really good soundtrack. It's relatively detailed, and it makes the earlier versions look graphically inferior. The other two earlier versions that had come out were the Nintendo Entertainment System and the Sega Master System. And neither of those were near arcade perfect, nothing like the Genesis version. The Genesis version really looked just like the arcade game, or really close. Now, looking good was this game's strong suit, because as soon as you get into the combat, it becomes apparent that this version of Double Dragon is a horse of a different color. You will see numerous repeat appearances by enemies like Willy, Roper, Williams, Linda, Chintai, and the infamous ABOBO. Now, one thing to note is that the CPU can mirror your movements almost one-to-one, which is crazy. It makes it hard to put any distance between yourself and the enemies and to basically get away from them just to throw a punch or pick up an item. Now, there are weapons in this game just like in the original version. However, they are of a limited use in this version, very limited. They're slow to swing, they're difficult to pick up, and it seems like they were put in almost to add difficulty rather than give you that little respite from like the brutal enemies. You know, you pick up a weapon, you start kicking some ass, and the game gets easier. But in this game, it's the exact opposite. You pick up a weapon, the game gets pretty hard. Not pretty hard, it gets a little harder. So that leads directly into the next problem though, which is the controls. It's extremely hard to pull off many of the moves. Now, you start off with all your moves right off the bat, unlike the original Double Dragon for NES, which, as everyone knows, that one you go up levels, and the higher level you go, the more moves you have access to. So you start off with all the moves, but they're extremely hard to pull off. I was never able to consistently pull off anything beyond basic kicks, punches, and, you know, that one move. Besides those weapons, those are like the only thing you get. So this was made a full 5 years after other versions. This 16-bit version of Double Dragon did little to light a fire under Genesis owners for the Double Dragon franchise. Now, it was mainly due to the impossible to master choppy gameplay, the enemies that stick to you like glue. But it's a cool footnote in Double Dragon history, especially that since it's an unlicensed game, which there wasn't a lot of those that I'm aware of for the Genesis. There probably was a lot. I'm not aware of them. Now, I'm glad to own it because it is a cool little footnote in Double Dragon history, but that's about it. So right about now, Double Dragon for the Genesis is creeping up in price. Loose, you can find it for about $35 to $60 based on what I've seen out in the wild. Now, complete in box, they're saying it goes for about $65 to $90, and new in box sealed, it goes for $150 and up, which I've never personally seen, but there's got to be a couple out there or a few somewhere. So it's by no means an excellent game. It is okay, but its price reflects more the rarity of the card itself than the quality of the game. I give Double Dragon for Genesis a 45 out of 100. Thanks for tuning in, guys.